Easy property listings, and today's video I want to show you how to use Elementor Builder to create custom templates for easy property listings. So I've got a staging site set up here that has just got some listings imported into it using our feed sync and import pro stack, and I've got Elementor Pro active here as I'm a license holder for Elementor Pro, and I'm just looking at the search results page, but we're going to focus on the single listing page first. So if I view a listing, I'm using the Hello Elementor theme. It doesn't matter what theme you use. There's lots of good themes out there that work well with Elementor Page Builder. So we've got the standard listing template file here, which just basically renders the hooks and filters from easy property listings onto the page. Now I'm going to just bring up our GitHub template file so we can have a list of hooks and filters that control or handle the rendering of these little elements like the address, the price, the bedrooms, bathrooms. We've got the heading here, and some of these other little hooks, and these are all handled through hooks and filters, and we can call them into Elementor using our listing element shortcode. So I'll go through all those bits in detail shortly. So if I just jump over to GitHub, which I'm doing on my other screen here just to get the file up, and we bring up the listing template file from easy property listings. This is available to you on GitHub. I'll put a link somewhere, but once you're inside it's in the folder file, lib library templates content, and this is called the content listing single file, and this is what will handle rendering this page. And inside this file you'll see these little do action hooks. So so you see like the property title that will render the title, which happens to be in this particular case the address. We've actually got one called specific called address, but anyway, we got the icons there, we got the property price, we got the buttons. Here's the featured image hook. Property details, this is actually just written in there, so you don't actually, if you're doing a custom template and you want to have the word property details, you would just use Elementor or a heading of some sort and add the whatever text you want. We've got the address, we've got the content, we've got the inspection times, and all these things will render on the page based on what you put in the template. So there's a few steps that we need to take to start building a template. So I'm just going to make the screen a bit smaller. So if we go to the dashboard of your WordPress site running Elementor, go to the templates and then theme builder. Now from here I've only got the header, and I'm doing a card test which we'll cover later, but we're going to go to a single post because every listing type in easy property listings is a custom post type, so it's called a single post. Just going to press add new. And once this loads, I'm just going to do a blank one, and we can work through how to create a template. So I'm just going to close that. We've got a blank page. Now there's an important step in Elementor that you need to take for this to actually work. First, you need to go to the settings in Elementor on the bottom left, and I like to call it something more explanatory. EPL single listing, and it's this particular box here. Page layout. If you don't, you need to choose the full width, which basically keeps the header and the footer of the site, and then gives you control over the contents. If you don't pick this, it doesn't work. So I'm choosing that, and then let's just quickly add, say, the post content that in here so that we have some information. If we click over to settings, and then again you can choose preview settings because at the moment it's defaulted to like a post. So we're just going to choose preview dynamic content as a property and apply. Usually you pick, and I got to choose this because we're doing a single one. Oops, sorry, I've clicked something else. It's worked there, but if we go to here, you usually choose preview. You need to type in one character or something, or A or something. Basically preview a specific listing. And there we go. Next, we're going to save. So if I save this, and it usually goes to, or publish this, it'll bring up the display conditions, and we're going to add a condition. So we're going to choose all properties. And if you have rentals enabled, you just do the same. You can use the same template for all the different listings, or if you wanted to customize them because the rentals have some unique rental information you want to put on there, you can do that. But look, we would choose property, and this would allow you to pick a specific listing, but just choose all properties and add condition. And save and close. So now we're going to we've done nothing, but we're just going to quickly view the website. We're going to go quickly back to the archive property page, which has made no effect, and we're just going to bring up a single listing, and we're going to see our Elementor text section. Nothing happened great there, but that's working basically. If we went to another listing, we'll see another block of text, and we're now saying Elementor, whenever you see a listing, use our template to build it. Which is really handy. So we're going to now press edit with Elementor. Now we can go back to the single post, and I'm just going to bring up another bit of documentation. It's actually from our codex, and I'll do a search for it for you. So if we go to our codex.easypropertylistings.com.au and search for listing element, or if you go to getting started shortcodes, but listing element, and this shortcode is actually specifically built for page builders like Elementor and Oxygen and Bakery Builder or Visual Composer. So just going to take this example. Now be cautious when you copy out of here. Sometimes you get these what are called pre-tags, and it breaks everything up. You actually end up copying the hidden pre-tag, and it looks all messy. So just be careful with that. But what we'll do is we're going to just say, I want the price. And there's two ways to insert things. I'm going to show you the raw shortcode. Doesn't give you much control. So if I go to shortcode, this is good for like the gallery and stuff. We paste that in there, and there's the price. Okay, let me just remove whatever that is, and then because it's Elementor, we can drag and drop and put something in there and move things around. But what I recommend you do for text fields like the price, the heading, is to actually insert a heading, because that'll give you the Elementor styling content. So if I go heading, let's say we're talking about the descriptive heading, the listing has. You click the dynamic tags button. So add a heading. You can choose your H1, H2. So let's say this is H2 for the heading. I usually use H1 for the address because that's a better, stronger term for SEO. But we're going to click dynamic tags. I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to go shortcode. Click the little wrench tool. I'm going to paste that in. Now it's going to give me the price. So our reference is, didn't mean to open that up. Our reference here is the hook. So I want the heading. So if you go back to our code file here, you're going to find these little hooks. So they're all do action. Everything that renders something in Easy Property Listing is called through a do action. So we got the address there. I want the address, okay, but I want the title. Then I had the heading, secondary heading, property heading, EPL property heading. So I'm going to change the action key to that. And there's our absolutely gorgeous. Now the benefit of using a title in the shortcode, which takes a couple extra steps to set it up once, is now you can use the wonderful styling options that Elementor provides. So you can go your typography and change your size to 2 EM. Let's go 3 EM, and there's our little heading. Now this might be a bit too big, so okay, let's do a 2-column sort of layout. This is the new Elementor Flex box I've set up here, which is great. So we can use the good old drag and drop. I want that in there. This heading's going to be way too big for that now. So let's just change that back to 2 or maybe 1.6. And then we're going to put the price because they want the information over here. Now this particular listing, they've obviously typed in call agent for price. Now again, I've used the shortcode. So in this case, let's change that. I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to add a new heading, because with heading, you can pick a few other options. So we're going to add a heading in here. I'm going to click that dynamic tags. We're going to choose shortcode again. And again, I could have just duplicated that and pasted. That's probably the quicker way, but let's just go this way, call for property price. And again, now you can style the price. This, when you use just the shortcode, it's sort of like you can do padding and stuff, but there's no styling options. But when you use a content item from Elementor, it gives you all these extra cool styling options that we can hook into. So this, let's say the price, we actually just want a div. I don't want to, it doesn't need to be an H1 because it's not that important, the price for SEO purposes, for example, but I want it nice and big, and I want to change the colors to be, I don't know, some accent or something. And my formatting, we want to go say right aligned, and then I'll get rid of this one. Okay, so there we go. Now we have, you can do the featured image through the featured image here, which will render it out. But our plugin also has a couple add-ons. Obviously, we like to get you guys to buy some add-ons. It helps us to keep growing the plugin and make things great. So we're going to pop, this is where we're going to use a shortcode, and we're going to pop an add-on in here. So I'm going to go shortcode, because we don't want to style this particular module because it's going to be the featured image. So I'm just going to paste that in there, and in here again we've got EPL property featured image. That's just the name of it. So the action key is property featured image, and I'm going to delete this. I haven't added any of our extensions, but I'll probably show you that after. So there we go, our featured image is in there, and press update. And then we're going to look, okay, so we've got the price. I probably should have left the other tab so we could have a reference. It was nice to work from a reference. The address would be good. That's probably a good one to chuck in. So let's find address. So what I'll do is I'm going to right click, love Elementor, oops, undo, and duplicate. I'm going to change this to property address. Okay, and then my styling's a bit too big. Now this one, I actually would have one as an H1. Whether it's big or small, that's not important. The fact is that the address is a good term because it ends up being the URL by default. And it doesn't change because the agents can actually go in there and keep changing this, which can break your links. But the address tends to stay that particular address for the life of the listing. So let's choose secondary, and the font size. Where are we? Typography. We don't really want it that one. So 12. Nope, that's too small. 18. I'm not a designer. 21 Arthur Street. And then let's say we want to chuck in the icons. I'm going to duplicate that, and this might fall sideways because I just realized something may not work there. I'll come back to the icons. I'm going to leave it broken for a moment because this is something we've added some code that, silly me, years ago we've added the wrapper outside the shortcode, outside the hook, but we should be able to hijack that by, let's just see if this works, by quickly adding a custom class, which will basically wrap this icon section with the classes I want. So I'm just going to go, I've clicked on the shortcode. It's in a heading, doesn't matter. Let's try class, update. If this doesn't work, I might pause the video and have a go at it so I can give you a solution. But then again, I like working on the fly, so I'm just going to view page and see what's wrong here. Because we've got property feature icons. Might be our SVGs not loading. Just going to disable the SVGs for a second. There we go. I've turned off the SVGs load through the header, and it might be an issue. So I would do use the PNGs and then just do a bit of CSS replacement. I can even give you a bit of code to do this, which is thankfully we can use a bit of custom CSS to replace these with, say, Font Awesome, which are built into Elementor, so you can get some nice quality icons with a couple lines of CSS. Let me see if I can quickly put something together here. So I've added a class, and then I will come up with a better solution. Icon before okay. Now if we use, just going to jump over to Font Awesome. And if we go to icons and say bed, oops, we'll bring up a bed. Now remember the font weight's 900. I'll come back to you in a second on that one, but looking for this F236. So it's F236, wrong slash, F236. And then we need to go font family. I think it's 3. Is it 5 or 6? Nope. Let me just come back to that. I haven't got the correct, this might be spaced. There we go. Good guess. Font Awesome 5, free. So I've added some, that'll be for all the icons. So you just need a couple little tweaks there. So that's the default icon before. So I could do icon for all of them, and then we can say dot bath, and quickly just grab a, I love CSS, that's my strength. Usually do a bit of Sass, but anyway, F2CD, F2CD, and then a car. That's an aircon, air. Let's just find a fan. Yep, and F863. I'm just basically copying this and giving it a new, it's got the word air, so air. And I've already forgotten the number, 863, F863. There's a fan. And then we need to basically hide the SVGs, which are done through padding. This is good code, but it's terrible code by today's standards. It's the icon value, so what I'll do here is go icon value. I don't want any of that, and then I'm going to just do padding 0, which is basically resetting some of the defaults here. No, it's the icon. It's alright. It's the icon. Leave that there for a second. Dot icon. There we go. Padding. Background. It's background none. There we go. And we got some icons there. Now we could do some tweaks, like I would do a margin right on the icons themselves. So margin, actually I'd use flexbox here on the icon. So I do display flex gap 1 EM. Hey. Let me leave that for another time. Icon padding. Zero, there we go. Yep, and then the icon margin right 0.3 EM. Oh. Oh, that is working. My eyes aren't working. 5 EM, oops, 0.5. That's the space between the icon and the number. I just need to restore the space between the, there's my padding 0, which is got rid of my spacing. This is where you could do, because the container for Elementor is this one, heading title. And you could do display flex on this, and I'll provide this code for you as well, so don't freak out. And then you just copy and paste and change these colors and so on, do a couple little tweaks, and you're good to go. Property feature icons is the parent, and then go display flex. Okay, let's flex these kids. Okay, and these are padding 0 now, works padding 0. And I think my issue is I have a width. Yes, the icon, sorry about this, width, this is auto, height, back to normal, instead of the 2020. And now I can do a gap, 1 EM. And now you can do, okay, well, I want the icons to the right, so justify content, flex, and if I spell that right, it'll work. There we go. Okay, let me publish that, and I'll pop that little bit of code for you to get access to that. But basically, you can render out any of the template bits. The icons, unfortunately, they need a little bit of a tweak, but you can render the inspection times and everything else into the template using Elementor. So basically, just copy and paste, get these titles, pop them in here, and you can do whatever you want with your template using the power of Elementor. If you want the agent information, again, you just render out the, spit out the map, the gallery, the author. We've got the feature section with like what the house has, the content, which is, you can just use the Elementor content, that works quite well. And just basically render those out, you know, get the key pieces here, any categories and other information that will render out, and we can pretty much build a quick little template that way. Now I just wanted to show you, so if we had the carousel plugin, for example, I don't think I've added it, so we're going to add a new one of our carousel extensions, upload a plugin, and there's all our plugins there. So I'm just going to quickly install carousels, activate it, and set a couple settings. We're going to have a nice carousel rendering on the listings. I'm just going to press activate, and that'll bring you a carousel option and another menu there. So we go to carousel, choose add new, and I'm just going to call it single listing. Name things well, because then you know what it means in 3 months, 6 years, single. So the carousel type is a single. I'm talking about the single listing. I want the carousel to be a full image. And I'm going to basic configuration. So 1 slide, that's fine. We do recommend using the progressive on the single. So it basically loads images as you go. You've got a few options here, but basically start with these little defaults and go from there. So the image size, maybe I've got a medium crop. No, it's not big enough. Let's just go with the full. And the slide, let's leave everything blank for now. On click do nothing. No, I want to do the light box, and I'm going to leave the video out. Publish. So the first step is to create a carousel. The next step with carousels is you actually go to register it. You could use the shortcode. Sorry, I'll go back. You can actually pop that into your Elementor template, but we've actually, if you use a hook, you can just go to extensions, bring up your carousel settings, and choose single and enabled property. If there's more property type, post types enabled, you need to tick them. Select carousel. So we're going to, which carousel, and use a single one, and press save. And now if I view this listing, I will see the carousel loading. Oops. Okay, the arrows are a bit too big. We've got a bunch of options to configure the carousel. So we can go, oh, I've made a mess there. Let's go to all carousels, edit the single listing, and arrows. You can change the color here, so we can go like transparent. You can choose a smaller one. Oh, I picked transparent for the actual color of the arrow. That didn't make sense. Let's go with red or something. No, red's terrible. Let's just choose orange. Again, I'm not a good designer. And there we go. So we can adjust some arrows, and you can tweak some settings there. That will render the carousel using Elementor. And then you can play with the carousel settings. It provides a lot of options for display and so on. But that's basically how you could use Elementor to handle the templating of the listings. And then obviously you got your mobile responsive, and you can use all your other Elementor features to create that. Now I'm just going to quickly segue to the property archive. Now this is a new feature for Elementor that they've done. So I'm not the best, may not be the best at this, but you could do the actual listing cards through the Elementor template builder. So if I go to dashboard, Elementor theme builder, I'm going to give it a go and choose to loop item. There we go. I did a card test. So let's try and do a new one. And I'm just going to start from blank again. And again, let's start with just the post content. Nope. Let's go the excerpt, a bit less text. Okay, and then if we choose the same settings, make sure you do no, it doesn't have it. Okay. Preview as a property. I'll choose one or more characters. Apply and preview. Yeah, I'm not sure. Publish. Let's just chuck a. Again, let's do shortcode. I don't think I've copied it. No. So let's get let's just put the price in there. That's good. Just do the price. Okay. So this is the card. Now I'm not 100% sure. Yes, I do remember now. Let me just put the address in there as well. So let's go duplicate and quickly change that to address and update. Okay, now that's created the card for the loop. So the next question is the query. So if I go to, I have to bear with me on this one, because we basically just created the card. Let me just add an image in there as well. Whoops. Because then it looks like a listing card. Let's just use the featured image, use the Elementor one to see what options it gives us. Large, okay, we use the medium crop because that's actually a hard crop size. Update. Okay. So we've just created the internal card for a listing. Now we need to do the archive template. So if we go templates, theme builder, we'll call this the search results. I like to call it that. So we do archive. I'm going to add a new one. I think this is how it works. So we choose a blank one again. I like blank. Sometimes it's easier that way. And then we can say, you know, let's go heading, go like search results. And then we can do a, I don't know what this one is, loop grid. There it is. So we're going to pick a loop grid. And I can pick that template I've created before. It's EPL something, card. Card, yep. And that's that. Query, we're going to choose properties. There we go. So that's using the loop builder. Now we can say, okay, override all the EPL pages. The problem is with this way is you're going to limit yourself with the queries on what you can actually do for the loop. So you know, you can only include by, it's very posty, where our EPL listing shortcodes are really powerful for doing things, but we want to be able to pass that. I've done this once before, so I'm going to just quickly show you again. So we're going to try and use that template I've created, the card, but we're going to use it the EPL way. So I'm going to add a shortcode. This is where you actually use the shortcode module. And let's say, okay, I want listing, status, current, limit, spell it right, equals 6. And I want 6 listings, okay? Now, this doesn't look how we want it to. We're going to have to do a little bit of coding here. No, I don't want a template, actually. Let me try that again. Let's try a page we want for sale, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to go for sale. Okay, publish. Now we're actually not going to use Elementor in this particular case, just for a second. Listing, template, oops, status equals current, tools, top equals on, limit equals 6. So show me 6 current listings with the tools on top and view the page. Okay, there we go, get sort of the standard thing. Now we want to try and convert this to be your Elementor. We're going to need a bit of code, and I'm not even planned for this, so I'm going to try and put it together as quickly as I can and as least confusing as I can. Let me just load up my FTP program. I'm going to have to quickly just check, which I don't think I even have a child theme enabled. Always use a child theme with WordPress. Doesn't matter what you're doing, always make a child theme. Okay, I do have an Elementor child. So I'm going to go into my folder, find the child theme, Elementor, and let me just navigate it to it on my other screen, and then I'll show you what I'm. Okay, here we go. So I just navigated to the WP content themes folder. Got hello. These are all the child hello Elementor. And we got 2020, 21, 2, 3. So I'm just going to go into the hello theme child, and we're going to create a new folder. It's going to be called easy property listings. Okay, and we're going to create a new file, which is loop listing blog detail. I'll show you how to get there. So if we go to our GitHub again, and go back to templates, the content folder, these are all the templates you can override with code. Unfortunately, we need to do it this way, but it's kind of neat when you do it. So we go new folder, new file, go in there. You don't need to do much PHP, just want to show you something quickly. Yep, go away thing. Okay, so here's my empty file. And we're going to take the contents of this just momentarily. So I've just opened the listing file, go raw. I'm not going to use all this. I just want to show you how this works, the templating system. So I can put in a blah, 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 save. And if I view this page, the property page, or the page I created before, we'll see a little bit of blah, blah, blah. It's not wrapped because I put it outside the box, but anyway, or if I go to the page that I had there for sale, view that, I can see a blah, blah, blah. So anytime that particular file will handle this. You could also create a specific one, which I will in this particular example, because it'll work. I'm going to try and avoid the list and grid mode. It brings in some complexities there that I might not be able to answer quickly. So we're going to go back to our little folder. I'm going to call this, instead of the word default, I'm going to call it grid. Okay, now this will no longer load because I renamed it. But if I now go to edit this particular, and I'm just go template equals grid, use quotes, no quotes, update, we'll see those little squiggly words again. Right. So we're going to now replace this default EPL stuff with the Elementor template. And the way to do that is we need to get the Elementor shortcode for it. So if we go to the dashboard, come on server, wake up. And we go to templates, theme builder. You need to go to the table view for Elementor. And then so you get a shortcode for all these. So I'll call it EPL card. So we got a little shortcode. So I'm just going to copy this. I love shortcodes. They let you do lots of things. Now inside my little template file, I'm going to do it two ways because I'm not sure how it's going to work yet. We're going to go and get rid of my blah, blah, blah. I'm going to put it after this parent, this wrapper line, because we have a little hook that I'll put in there. So you need to do one line of PHP. Question mark PHP, echo, oops, do shortcode. I'm using the Nova editor here on a Mac, but you can use anything. Save that and refresh. We should see the card. Okay, now it doesn't fit in a grid. I'm on the wrong page again. Nope. Yep, we've got tools top. So we have when EPL creates a list in a grid mode, all it's doing is adding a little class to the container. What that means is we've got this little post property EPL clearfix. But as soon as you do grid, we're adding one little class, and we've actually a little cheat. So in this class, we've got sorry, that's Elementor. I'm going to pick the default one. We've got this little, of course I've put my Elementor in front of it. There it is. Nope, there it is. Post property blog. It actually adds this EPL listing grid view. Now you need to add a little word after that called forced, which is just what I used when I created this thing. And we're going to add this class here, which is going to basically override the list mode. So call it forced and save. Refresh, and now we're going to have a list and grid mode that doesn't work on the shortcuts, which is perfect. Actually, we don't want the tools, so we can hide these or whatever. So one more step is to remove all the default. As you can see, there's another listing in there, and we can go to here and get rid of all the contents. And now we can use Elementor to render inside the EPL shortcodes anything you want. So save that. So we're just saying, okay, do the outer container. It may work without it. Like if I just put that in there, yeah, it'll work without it. But we also do apply a few. Hey. No, it won't work without. Yeah, okay, Elementor has a little. So we've lost the grid mode there. So I would leave that little. Just put it inside the main class so that we've applied some wrapper class stuff. And plus we also pass in some class information like single. So you could do if it's current or sold. You'll see it in here. It'll be like, here's some features. There's some other stuff that gets passed. If you get rid of that, you'll lose some of our little custom code. Yeah, EPL status current. So if that was sold, meaning you could have some different styling for a sold listing. But that's just a quick way to use Elementor to override the archive loop. And because we've done it on the property page, that in that file, it'll also apply to the search results. Oh, it won't, because I didn't, I renamed that file. So let's say you wanted to apply it. I'm just going to duplicate this file and just call that back to default. And then basically you've overridden, you can have a custom grid or you can have both. It depends on your project. Obviously the image isn't big enough here, but you get the gist. I don't have a container, so in this particular case, yeah. But that should give you a good little starting point to use Elementor to, I didn't put a link, I can't click. And we can just edit the card again. I didn't put a link there like a view me, or put a link around the elements to make them clickable. So let's add a button or something. And details. And the link can be this button, dynamic, and say the post URL, update. And back to the property page. And go to details, and there we go. So that's how you can work through using Elementor single templates. Now, just this little segue is, if this is too complicated for you, we do have a service for custom templates. And we don't use the page builders to build them, because then we can't, not everybody uses Elementor on their projects. So we don't want to be stuck with just using Elementor. Plus we can't enhance our code that much. But if you go to our support page, scroll down, you'll see our custom template service starting at 597. And we can actually build, you give us the artwork and we will custom code whatever you need. And here's some examples. And we're building lots of them all the time and enhancing our little framework of code to really showcase what we can do. And basically we'll do the search, we'll custom code everything. Some, really nice one, recent one is Soames, this is quite a bigger one. And the nice little commercial one here, and Harcourts we've just done as well. These are full listings. So this is all easy proper listings, and we've got our extensions hooked in for different pieces. But we've hand coded all this along with the search so that your search works and you can do everything here. So we've got all here's the Soames project. So if you find that building custom templates, you can let us do it. We specialize in it. We've got all the custom icons, and we use CSS Grid to really get the responsiveness working and handle all the search options. And we've customized all sorts of stuff. We can put our price sliders in there, and this has actually got Ajax results happening. And let's have a look at this one. This one was, they give us the design and we build it. We've got the custom templates for the staff pages, the different, whatever you want, your heart's desire, we can pretty much build it. And I hope this video has been of help for you. But again, yeah, if you're having trouble with your coding, let us handle it for you, and you can work on the rest of the website, because building websites is complicated and there's lots of different pages and forms and stuff you need to make work for your projects. So if you want to just leave us with the listing pages, leave us with listing pages, and you can carry on with the rest of the site, and we can help you get the site built quick and easy. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.